The Freewing F-14. It's been around for years and is basically the only Tomcat out there that's worth talking about. But is it worth flying? And is it worth the rather huge price point? Let's dive into it and find out. But before we dive into this, we need you to consider smashing that like and subscribe button. New uploads come on Saturdays and Wednesdays at 11 a.m. EDT.
Yeah, this has a lot more punch on the SMC.
You're seeing us fly the Tomcat in stock form right now. This is on the 1680 kV Outrunners with 80 amp ESCs. It's woefully underpowered unless you're using high quality batteries. When we switched from Z to SMC batteries, this jet really came to life, but it was still lacking for performance. When we upgraded to the 1920 kV Inrunners from the MiG-29, the jet really came to life. Maneuvers that we couldn't power out of easily now became trivial to exit. The new Inrunners sound amazing and allow the jet to perform beyond scale maneuvers. Here's our old Cobra spin versus our new one with the Inrunners. We can power out of the spin using the motor upgrade, which makes the spin look like a scale maneuver.
I think we finally have ourselves a Super Tomcat. Check this out.
It's robustly built overall, with few exceptions. Honestly, it's a marvel of radio-controlled engineering, with a solid wing box that the designers at Grumman would have loved. Unfortunately, the amount of wiring in the plane borders on absurd. At times, it feels more like flying wires than foam, especially if you rewire the jet directly to your receiver to get the most functionality out of it. The wings articulate on heavy-duty ball bearings with a solid connection to the servoless mechanism to swing them. All of this structure comes at a cost, however. This is one of the heaviest freewing jets in its class, surpassed only by the MiG-29. The main drawback is the gear system. Unless you land well, the foam supporting the landing gear struts eventually begins to compress, which will fail over time. There's aftermarket components you can buy to shore the gear up, but that adds another $100 minimum to the flyaway price. And we haven't even discussed the fact that this is a plug-and-play jet, meaning that you need a receiver for it. Here's our maiden flight with the new Inrunners. Even before rotation, a huge difference is apparent to us with the 1920 motors. The jet takes off in half the runway it used on the Outrunners. These are powerful motors.
Yeah, I got you now.
Flat spins are much easier to recover from, too. The jet doesn't rotate as much when you attempt to exit with thrust. Here's how much effort was required to escape a flat spin on the Outrunners. The jet rotated nearly 360 degrees before finally powering out. And that leads us to our next discussion point. Bigger flies better. The Tomcat is a 1.5 meter model with its wings extended. It handles beautifully in the sky. With that size and weight does come a need to consider investing in better electronics. You'll want to invest in high quality high-tech servos for the stabilators. The stock servos will work, but at this size and scale, it's better to ensure that you'll have no issues by flying quality components. The jet is responsive throughout its flight envelope. It has very heavily loaded wings and is prone to stalling when trying to maneuver without enough airspeed. The jet won't stall on you in normal maneuvers if you plan your flight and fly ahead of the jet, thinking about how much airspeed you'll need in order to perform tight loaded rolls, barrel rolls, loops, etc. It's often said that this jet flies like a trainer, but we've never flown a 15-pound trainer with swinging wings and full-flying stabilators. It flies stable, but that's because it's been well engineered. It does not tolerate aggressive maneuvers without maintaining airspeed. The wings will not hesitate to bite you. If you've never experienced an accelerated stall with a 15-pound jet, this one will teach you to get good at recovery quickly, or hope that you brought a plastic bag to contain the debris. All bets are off when the wings sweep. it becomes a completely different beast entirely. Airspeed doesn't change much from extended to swept, but the flight characteristics absolutely do. The jet becomes significantly more touchy with the wings swept back. In many ways, we prefer the stability of how it flies with the wings extended, but it's fun to fly with the wings swept. Give yourself lots of room to maneuver and keep up on the power. We're not entirely sure how it stalls in this configuration, but we're guessing the results won't be pretty. It can't be understated that this model comes stock with a ton of lights, maybe the most we've ever seen on a freewing model. It can be flown at dusk. It could probably even be flown at night if you were daring enough. The lights add to the authenticity and give it an unparalleled presence in the sky. We did some preliminary testing with the GPS and found that the jet hits a maximum speed of 107 miles per hour with the wings swept using SMC batteries and the 1920 kV Inrunners. If you're chasing numbers, this jet isn't what you're looking for, but we suggest that you go into it expecting to have an aerobatic beast that definitely flies better with more thrust. Some people have tested out high alpha with the wings swept back. We're a bit more daring. We got some relatively stable high alpha with the jet with the wings extended. Thrust really comes in handy here. It flies odd to say the least, but it does fly in high alpha so long as you keep throttle engaged at a minimum of 40%. While it does fly odd, at least it's easy enough to fly like this. Pull the stick back until the jet stalls, then add in power until it starts holding the nose up. Steer with rudder, throttle up to exit as you let the nose down. Don't try to perform Cobra maneuvers with heavy batteries unless you're really good at judging airspeed. The results tend to be a bit mushy, but we did get some good ones in here. Overall, our final thoughts. We love this jet. It's a top performer, aerobatically speaking, in our hangar. It looks amazing, it flies well if you understand its quirks, and it can perform both scale and beyond scale super maneuverable Russian airshow techniques. Really, what's not to love? And it's a Tomcat. Every time we post it on Instagram, it blows up. Something about the jet just looks regal and intimidating. They don't make jets like this anymore. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't own a piece of aviation history. Consider getting one for yourself. We've published 2 setup guides on it, for those of you who'd like a helping hand. If you want yours to fly as well as ours does, check the video description and pick one up for yourself from motionrc.com. And definitely consider getting the MiG-29 power system for it. You won't regret it. See you guys on Wednesday.